all of it, but there's some. He barely fits in the net. Well, that's a pretty good sized fish. Yeah, that's a nice size. That's a nice trout. Sage, move. That's a big one. That's one of the big ones. All right, we caught already a nice large trout. Trophy fish. All right, this is Kevin. Looks like he's got himself about a 19 or a 20-inch trout there. Didn't take him long. What, maybe 5 minutes? After that. Strike. Still a nice trout. Pretty nice size. Yeah, my bait's gone. Sage, stop. Here, trade areas you with it. Well, he's not that small. Look what I caught.
Probably 10, 12. That's the average in the area.
Yeah, that's a nice sized fish. That's a beauty. On. First one on my Litma. Whoa, he's pretty good sized. If I could get him in the net. Yeah, he's not that bad.
Yeah, no, he's
bigger than I thought. Today we're fishing the Litma fishing pole, ultralight 6-foot rod. And we'll see if we can't catch some trophy fish today. See how this pole reacts. All right, let's give it a little bit of time sitting here and see what happens here. There we go. Got a couple different power baits I'm using today. I'm using one that's kind of a cream color, I guess I'd call it. Sort of tannish, with a little hint of maybe kind of an off pinkish. I got some of the orange left. I do have a multicolor one. It has orange, yellow, and green in it. I started using that originally. I'll go back to that next. We'll give this one a little bit of time. Okay, fish on. It's a big fish. Trying to get him to come back up to the surface, but he's digging deep. Can't tell how big he is, but he looks like he's one of the lunkers. He's fighting like one. There he comes. It's pretty big. Oh yeah, he's a big one. He barely fits in the net. That's the kind of fishing that I'm talking about. All right. All right, first trout. That was caught on my new Litma 6-foot rod. This trout right here. We'll make sure when we get back, I don't have a way to weigh it, unfortunately, but this is a big, big fish. Now that's a pretty fish. You can see that thing does not fit in the net. All right, so I thought I'd show you how I rig this up. Hopefully you can see. I usually pull out a little ball of it, about like that, and I'll bury the hook in it. Like I said, hopefully you can see this. I'll try to zoom in later even more. So I'll kind of ball it up on there, and I want to keep it up on the line as much as possible, and this part, the tail end, towards the hook. And right now, last one, I just did a little 1-inch long, probably about a 1/4-inch diameter piece of that dough. That's what I'm going to fish with. We'll go ahead and cast it out. I don't have to go out far, but I want to go out farther than I did. There we go. We're out there a decent distance. Oh, fish on. He's a scrapper. Calm down, calm down. See if we're lucky enough that he's barely hooked. We'll see. Come here. Yeah, he's barely hooked. He's a releaser. Let's get him off the hook quickly. Okay, see if we can get him back. There he is. He's gone. All right, we'll try that again. And that was number 2 for the morning. Another fighter. All right, I thought I would break out that fish and let's see how big it is. I'm pretty sure this is the biggest trout I've ever caught. This is the trout I caught this morning on the Litma 6-foot ultralight fishing pole. And it handled this fish great. We're talking a 21-inch trout, the biggest one I've caught yet to date. They're nice glass windows. They were given to me free. So I'm gonna lay them up here in hopes that they don't break. Let's see what we can do here. Well, that'll work. Not optimum. I'll have to figure something out later. But I don't want them to break, that's for sure. I want to make some windows. These would be nice big windows. What do you think, Sage? You got a toy there, huh? You're a silly girl. You're a silly girl, Sage. All right, we're going to take a walk over. I'm going to take a look at the windows again, double check my measurements, and we're going to take a couple of pine logs and start cutting up some bulk size boards. A couple different thicknesses. I think it's 1 1/16 and possibly 3/4 inch that I'm working with. Let's take a walk up here. This is the first time the sun's came out in 5 days. And they're predicting rain today. It snowed a little yesterday. Definitely been cold around here. Apparently Sage knew where I was going. I milled a lot of wood. This wood I'm using right here, a lot of that was for this build right here. I'm going to show you. I used an app to figure out my property line. Thought my property line was where the fence was. I got a fence over here. You can see, just past it. Well, it turns out my property line's right here. So I was off. Of course, that means I got to move this foundation build that I did last year. And it needs to be 25 feet from the property line. So the fence will get moved over here to this side, my side of the property line, and I'll put the cyclone fence up, or whatever you want to call it, chain link fence, whatever. So I'll put the fence up and close this area off so my dogs can run around in there free without having to worry about Cooper being on a leash. There's a great view from this area of the mountains. And there's a lot of good area here to do a garden in. And I started pulling out the sagebrush over here. And I will be getting to that more. I've started leveling this area out here to move the building over this way and build. And I'm going to clear out all the sagebrush and a few of these trees right here to open this up. This direction over here is south facing. So I want to collect as much solar from this area as I can. Rather than taking the time to tear all this apart right now, I'm going to build this cabin later. What I want to do is keep leveling this on out a little bit and cleaning up this area. And I have my upper property. I'm going to go ahead, so I'm not doing things twice as much right now. I'm going to go ahead and start putting a foundation up there next year, and I'm going to build the Appalachian log cabin and get that built. And then I'm going to come over here after that cabin's done, and I'll start working on this cabin, which will be a different type of build than up there. Back to this window here. I'm going to just double check my measurements here. So basically it says 65 3/8. So I want at least 65 1/2 because I can always trim off what I need. And height, no, 52 inches. We'll have to do a few different styles of boards for this to come up with all the thicknesses I want. Gets a little temperamental when it's cold out. Second time coils will heat up enough. There we go. Alright, so this is going to be window trim materials I'm cutting. Cut into oversized. I've kind of got a general idea without taking one of the windows apart of what I need for most of it, not all of it. But there's several different sizes that play a part in this thing. So I'll go ahead and start cutting this off my list here after I get this squared up. Oh yeah, I can get some wood out of that now. What happened the other day, I didn't have the camera out, but I came out here to switch blades intentionally because before it started I thought, well, it'd be good to put a new blade on. I opened it up and there's a big pile of grass, dried grass in the thing. And so I kind of felt around. I didn't feel anything in the grass. So, you know, I knew it had to be a squirrel or a chipmunk made a home in there, and I cleared it out, set it down on the ground, and all of a sudden Sage, she starts plowing her nose into it and moving it around. I go, there's nothing in there, Sage, you're just smelling what made the nest. And she grabs a chunk of the pile, and she carries it over towards the deck and lays it on the ground and starts spreading it out and digging it out. And all of a sudden I'm looking over at her, and she opens it up, and there's a bunch of little babies, pink little babies in there about that big. And she picks one up in her mouth. I says, no, Sage. And she dropped it right away. And she didn't hurt it. She's got a gentle mouth when it comes to animals. I don't know if she would have tried to eat it or what. I wouldn't have given her a chance. So anyways, I found some cardboard boxes, and I took the whole nest, put the babies back in it, put it down here behind me, underneath where the nest was, obviously. And it was there the whole time I milled, and Mama never came back and yelled at me or anything. So a little later I looked out, and sure enough, Mama was taking the babies and putting them up in the tree over here. So I came back the next morning, cleared everything out, looked at it. There's no babies left in it. So I assume they all survived, hopefully. I don't know, they were pretty small. My guess is it was a mama chipmunk. I couldn't really tell from inside the building there. But I have a lot of little chipmunks that play in the wood piles here. But now I have to check inside here every time because I'm worried that there'll be something in there, and I don't want to end up killing a bunch of little squirrels or chipmunks. I like having them around here. So I got a couple pieces here. That's a piece of fir. I'm going to save that for other boards later. But this is the pine I'm working on. I got 2 of the sizes I need. I think I have, that I know of, 3 more sizes. And then there's others I need to figure out. The reason I'm not working on the build right this second is mainly because it's been raining for 5 days now. So I'm not getting a chance to dry it enough, and I'm going to set up my, today, I'll set my planer up, and hopefully, now that the sun's out, and hopefully they're wrong about the rain coming today. so it's starting to hail. I'm going to stop and eat lunch anyway. This log, I need to do some 1.5 by 3/4. I'm going to have to make 3 of those slabs before I can move on to the rest of it, but I'll need another one of these up here in order to get enough wood, you know, produced. I need to make 5 of these. Of course, they're way longer than I need and they're wider than I need, but that works. I can cut them down later. Didn't get the planer set up yesterday. I do want to get that going. It's dry today. It did sort of rain and hail mix yesterday, so I didn't set it up, but looks like I can do it today. We'll come back to the planing part on the next video. I got about a week. I gotta wait for my neighbor who's got the machine that'll cut the edges so that I can overlap them. And so not this video or the next video, but the following video, I should have those all dialed in and be finishing up the floor so I can start on the walls. In the meantime, I do have more wood to mill anyway. Yeah, it looks good. Let's see if we can. Good girl. Good enough. Good enough. This is good enough. I just had so much sawdust I was walking through and I'm tracking it into the cabin. There's still sawdust here. I'll do some raking later. I got a bunch built up under there and then I'll scrape it one more time. But there's nothing I can really do. That's just the way this area is going to be with all the milling I'm doing. There's no way to keep it 100%. There's no point in trying. So that's where I'm at. I just wanted to get this done today. Be like 65.5 inches long. Oh yeah, I'll be able to make it. That's just a little teeny tiny bit of bark on there. That'll be no problem because I got to take a 1/2 inch off anyway. I went ahead and got this squared up. Took a few 1-inch boards off of it. I'm going to take one more off, then I'm going to flip it up and start cutting it. This is all for the door material. Although I'm probably going to have to get another log and bring it down here tomorrow and do that to get enough wood for the doors, for 3 doors. So I'm going to go ahead and get this done. It's getting late. I'm going to call it an evening and make dinner. Well, unfortunately, I gotta stop. Didn't quite get done with that cut. Do some measuring, see if I want to do a different cut here for a little bit. Because I have another cut I need to do, and I want to optimize this piece of wood as much as I can. And then we'll pull this off, put it aside. Enough of that stuff, huh? Litma sponsored my channel this week. I want to thank Litma for sponsoring me and supplying the fishing pole that I used this week. And for those of you that are interested, I will put in the listings everything I used, including the reel and the lines and the weights and the hooks and everything else, and I'll put links to them on Amazon for you. I do make a little money off if you make a purchase through the Amazon affiliate link that I supply. It has no extra cost to you, so if you'll use that link, you'll be helping my channel out and supporting me. I'd appreciate it. Thanks again. Thank you, Litma. I appreciate it. Take care. We'll go next week with the ugly stick, and that will be a combo. It has its own reel that came with it, so that'll be next week's fishing expedition. So we'll see if we can catch a big fish on that.